With Father's Day just around the corner, I thought it would be a good idea if I talk about parenting. And the topic today is about whether you are an excellent parent. Hi, my name is Andrew and I'm glad that you're with me on this episode of The Right Track. I'm concerned because there are so many good parents around. Unfortunately, there are also many children, young offenders who commit crimes. So the question is, you're a good parent, but still you have children committing crimes. Why is that so? There's a perception that if those who commit crimes are those who are from backgrounds like poverty-stricken, education level low, broken families, well, there may be some truth in that, but not completely. Many of the cases that come before me, the children come from good families, educated families. And the type of crimes we can specify into two broad categories. One is, of course, sexual offenses. The other would be drug-related offenses. Sexual offenses, most times, it's got to do with statutory rape. And when it comes to drugs, it can be three. It can be possession, it can be consumption, and the worst case scenario is trafficking. I remember 5 boys aged between 18 to 20, gathered together, rented a condominium. They wanted to have a party. One of them brought drugs. There was a raid. All of them were arrested. They come from very good families. In fact, their parents were professionals. Now they are sitting in prison waiting for their trial because the weight of the drugs tantamounts to trafficking. They had a good future. Now their future looks bleak. So if you ask me whether they come from good parents, yes, they are. They are good parents. They did provide everything. But what went wrong? So I am in the belief that today it's not about you being a good parent. You have to become an excellent parent. In today's episode, I will be talking about 5 indicators that makes you an excellent parent. Take it as a checklist. And if any one of these resonates with your parenting style, then you are an excellent parent. Number 1. Do your children feel emotionally safe when they are with you? This is the question. Do they feel emotionally safe? Just like adults, children have their emotions: anger, frustration, jealousy. Do they come to you and talk to you about their good days and bad days with you? Have your children even openly criticized you or openly said they're angry with you? Most parents, sometimes they'll just tell them to shut up, keep your limits. And when they do that, they are suppressing the child's emotions. And this is a bad sign. Because a child's emotion, when it is suppressed, it's like they're bottling up the emotions. It's like a volcano. And when it erupts, it can be destructive. Number 2. Are you guilty of labeling or comparing your child? And this is important. Many parents are guilty of this. When I say comparing, most parents would like to compare their children with other children. In sports, in studies, they make the comparison. But there's a worse thing they do. They label the children. If your child is dark, for example, they might say, look, you don't buy clothes like this, the color doesn't suit you. They label them. If the child is a bit fat, they might say, well, if you go to a department store, that section is not meant for you because it's meant for thin people, skinny people. It's not meant for you. They label the child. This type of labeling and comparison has a deep impact on the child, which the child will carry on throughout her life. Number 3, do you live your dreams through your children? Or do you allow your children to pursue their interests and talents? Many parents are guilty of this. They feel that they have unfulfilled dreams. Some of them may have wanted to become classical dancers. And they force their children to become classical dancers because that was their dream. They want their children to become doctors if they are doctors, lawyers if they are lawyers. They want to fulfill their dreams. When you allow your child to pursue their interests, what happens? They do things because they want to do it, not because they have to do it. Because when we force children to do something that they are not interested, there will be retaliation. Even though they may agree with you in the initial stages, even though they may excel in whatever they are doing, but eventually they will give up. I've had many children who have come up from universities and said, well, I did my degree because my parents wanted to do it. Now I want to do what I want to do. So it happens like that. So it's like whether we are fulfilling our dreams through our children. Are you guilty of that? Number 4, do you allow your child to feel entitled? It's a common term that's used for millennials. I relate this to parents, we call them the helicopter parent. They are always hovering over the child, particularly over their education. They are protected. It's good, no harm in that. But what happens is that the child is brought into the open world, brought into the working world, feel that he or she will always be protected. And what happens is that they lack empathy. They do not show empathy to others. In the real world, these are important characteristics. And if you allow your child to be protected, what happens is that you do not allow your child to become confident, but at the same time being humble. These are good things that needs to be taught, but many parents ignore that simply because they want their children to excel in their studies, leaving aside so many other factors which carries more weight. And finally, number 5, does your child know that you are not perfect? Many parents, their ego is so high, they just cannot say sorry to their children. They cannot accept that they too make mistakes. It's not a good sign to the children. Because I believe if you want to show values to your children, you can only give what you have. If you want to tell them, be honest, you have to be honest to yourself. So if you are unable to say sorry or to say that you too make mistakes, that you're not perfect, that may not be very good as a parent. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I would say this. An excellent parent is when you realize that it is not about providing expensive goods, expensive things to your child, or pushing your child to get good grades, but it is about securing a healthy, bonding relationship as your child grows older. To all fathers, let me say something here. Many of you are doing things without realizing how great you are. You are a provider. You have made sure that you provide for your family, provide for their needs. And you're also a protector. You have always come forward, stood before anybody else when the problems come. And you have never indicated that these are roles that you have to do. You're doing it because it's so natural. So to all fathers, happy Father's Day. Thank you for watching.